and in countries like Iran have ended up not being let out. He's actually gone and said, oh, yes, they were up to no good and trying to actually muddy the waters and make it worse for these poor people. He's awful, absolutely awful.
He resigned?
He resigned, yeah, and people went, oh, good. So I think and David Davis, who, as I say, was the Brexit secretary, is he's obviously not done a very good job. If up to this point, otherwise we would already have some kind of deal in place, and he would have actually got somewhere. We wouldn't have to be having an emergency meeting of ministers. Interesting fact, but David Davis, as the chief negotiator for the UK with the European Union, has only met with the chief negotiators of the EU for 4 hours more than you have this year. That's all he's done. 4 hours this year that he's met them for.
4 hours?
4 fucking hours. So he's obviously taken his job incredibly seriously.
And they haven't even appointed us Ministry of anything.
No, exactly. Yeah, that'd be the next step for you, having your different ministries, I suppose.
Yeah. About fucking time.
No.
Yeah, seriously, we do a better fucking job. I'd at least see him for 5.
Oh yeah, you can't do any worse job than them. I mean, there were several other ministers who actually decided to resign as well. They were more junior ministers, and
hey, no one cares about them. Boris Johnson resigned.
It prompted who a lot of the time. I mean, there's various conversations now about how long Theresa May might last as Prime Minister. As leader of the party and stuff, and I think they'll just keep her in place as a scapegoat, so when it goes horribly wrong, because it will go horribly wrong, they'll be able to get rid of her on that basis and say, oh, it was all her fault. So let's we'll see where that went. I mean, her after having faced that challenge of the resignations and her Brexit deal that she thought people had agreed to actually being thrown up in the air and batted around, she did then have to meet Trump, obviously, and that was rather comical images there of her being led around by the hand like a enfeebled old auntie, and having to actually make out that she wasn't at all annoyed by the way he just slagged her off, which is easy for her to do when she's completely cold and disingenuous as a human being, and that's in the loosest sense of the word human being. So it was just like ridiculous fawning, and showed her to be incredibly weak in the face of somebody who you would normally have turned around and said, hang on, all this shit you said about me, I'm not going to stand there on a podium next to you and actually agree with you and let you say, oh no, I didn't say this. So yeah, we don't know where it's going, but we do know that she then had to try and push her agreement through Parliament, and obviously with people resigning, they wanted to actually have the ability to oppose her. So she pulled out all the tricks in the book to try and actually make sure she won these various votes in Parliament, including breaking an age-old rule on pairing that they have in Parliament. And I'm not I think they might do something similar within your government over there, whereby if somebody is, say, pregnant or is long-term ill or is away on some actual official business, somebody of the opposing side will pair up with them and agree not to vote. So it's a sort of gentleman's agreement almost. That happened has been happening in the UK Parliament for, well, ever since it first started hundreds and hundreds of years ago, well before your country existed. Mm-hmm. And then it happened the other week where they decided that one of the opposition parties, one of their members of Parliament, was off for maternity, and it had made an agreement with one of the Conservative ministers wouldn't actually vote because they were going to vote an opposing way. And what he did was he then snuck into the chamber and voted unaware, hoping that nobody would notice.
No shit.
Yeah. So
wow,
that's caused a big ruckus. And just as that was happening and that was coming to light, like the next day, Theresa May decided to put a motion before Parliament to actually start the summer recess of Parliament early. Seemingly wanting to try and avoid any debate, but she didn't get away with that one because there was such a bad publicity of that. She she backed down upon that without even bringing it to debate. So it leaves us standing in a bit of an odd position, because now we've not really got the debating people for Brexit that we were intentionally having in the first place, who were doing originally a terrible job of it, but now have done such a bad job they've decided to resign and blame somebody else for it. So what the deal that she actually had hashed out with them anyway was actually one of those deals where nobody likes it at all. It doesn't please either side. The people who are in favour of remaining didn't like it. People who are in favour of Brexit didn't like it. The EU aren't going to like it. So it can't be, she's made a deal that nobody's going to actually agree to anyway. So it seems like she's done that for absolutely no benefit whatsoever, which is the kind of leadership you want in a crisis.
Of course. Of course. It sounds like she could become the next president.
It sounds like she actually has been listening to Donald Trump about the art of making deals.
Yeah. Let's hope that that's not the case.
No, for everybody's sake, yes. So that's what's been happening in not America.
Well, although I have to say, I think all I heard for the last 5 minutes was Prime Minister Corbyn. That's all I heard.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Well,
I heard that a lot too.
Well, I saw him at the same place where I saw Bernie Sanders giving his video speech to us. Corbyn was there giving a speech, which was very inspiring, and it did actually bring to the fore all the proper things you wanted to hear, where they're going to be teaching kids about their own working class history, making sure that there's renationalisation of industries, making sure that the National Health Service is protected and built up, making sure that if we're going to be giving out government contracts, we'll look at giving them to companies in this country first. All these kind of things that really should be done by a government that's got the best interests of its people at heart. So we do hope he'll be in at some point soon, but politics being politics, unfortunately, sure. We don't know. But it would be wonderful if it had been him in the UK, Bernie in your country. We'd be in a completely different position now, wouldn't we?
2020.
Yeah, 2020 we can hope for, yeah. But until then, good luck with the midterms.
Yeah, well, thank you. Hey,
yeah.
Steven, thank you, as always, for the update on what's going on in the world. If there's anything that you wanted to plug, your channel or your YouTube account, whatever you want, go ahead and plug it now.
Right, well, just the only thing I'd like to say to people is join a union. As Bruce Springsteen said about unions in your country, that unions have been the only powerful and effective voice working people have ever had in this country. So if you want to make sure you've got your rights protected and you gain more rights, then really being in a union is one of the things you should be doing.
There you go.
Yes,
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And luckily for us, the Supreme Court has just made that a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
Hey, positive only. This is a positive only podcast.
I didn't no. What? This is what?
Thank you, Steven, for coming on our show and giving us the update on Not America. Much appreciated, my friend.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we will have our final thoughts.
Ooh. All right. Sounds good, Tom.
And so ends our Big Dumb Show. It's been big, and it's been, yeah, again. And it's been dumb.
Oh, yes. At least until Steven got here.
Steven did educate us, which makes it not dumb.
Yeah.
Awesome. What are your final thoughts?
Well, first of all, for the first time that I said them, I finally come up with an acronym to describe the people who don't agree with the things that we believe.
Okay.
These are the people who are perennially evading the eventual reality of a dumb all over utopia, or Peter Dow.
I was trying so hard to keep up with that. I was like, P E, and that was it. Peter Dow. I love it so much. Okay.
So that's what all of you who don't believe in the same things we do shall be called Peter Dows.
I love that so much. That's so good. That's so good. Oh my god. What else do you have, us?
All right, so other than that, of course, this has been a very chaotic news week, or as we call it in the Trump administration, a normal news week. Yeah.
Normal, yeah.
Conservatives, please keep going to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez rallies. You might learn something and write really, really hilarious satire.
It's so stupid.
And of course, I would like to thank Steven for coming on and educating us about Not America. We know that it exists. We just don't care until he comes on.
So true. Once a month. We care once a month.
And then sometimes our country likes to make their news more interesting by sending our president to them.
Yeah, like half of his report was American reporting.
Well, it was a report about American intrusion on Not America.
That's the same thing.
Yes. And, you know, and I have to say, I am very, very proud of the way that the people in the UK protested Donald Trump. I wish Americans were that united against him, but of course, we are dumb all over, so it's not going to happen.
Hey, that's the show's name.
That's right. And I think that's all I got, Tom. So
very good.
So what are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts is I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to stand up. I am so drunk. Standing up seems like a difficult project. Thank you, Steven, for coming on and telling us about the world, which we care about, but we don't. Because America is so toxic. I guess you could say. I care about the world news. I just don't have time to pay attention to it. Does that make sense?
Yes. I will accept that.
You'll allow it?
I'll allow it, yeah.
All right, very good. And to avoid any further mistakes and potential editing for Austin, I'm just going to say that's it. That's all I got for this week.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Hey! Austin, did you know that you can find our show on the internet?
Oh, is that where it goes?
It's on the internet.
No wonder I never find it when I'm searching the radio.
That's what I'm saying. I look all the time. It's not there because it's on the internet. Now, you can find our show on iTunes and potentially Blog Talk Radio. You know what? You can find our show on iTunes.
That's true.
And that's it until next week when we announce
different stuff.
who owns us after that.
Spoiler alert, it's George Soros.
It is. It's George Soros. You can find us on Twitter at DumbleOverPod, Facebook at DumbleOverPod, Instagram at DumbleOverPod.
Oh, he held us in suspense.
A little suspense, yeah. It's like a tease.
And I just want to say to all of our wonderful listeners, don't perennially evade the eventual reality of a dumb all over utopia. Don't Peter Dow. Don't Peter Dow. Don't Peter Dow. That's it.
That's so good. Don't Peter Dow. Yeah. Don't be a Peter Dow. Be a patron.
Yeah. Now that is my favorite tagline. Don't be a Peter Dow. Be a patron.
Well, that's about it for this week.
right.
We'll be back.